Hey everybody, I'm Jamie Schmidt, and today I'm going to show you how to fix a leak in the basket of the sink, which is basically the drain hole of the sink. This morning I woke up and was cleaning some dishes and noticed that when I grabbed a dish towel it was kind of damp, and also smelled a little musty odor coming from underneath the sink, and I realized that I had a leak and didn't know it, and all the dish towels towards the back were soaking up all the water as it was coming down. So I'm going to do a quick video and show you how to fix this problem. There's a lot of water. I can't believe I didn't notice it before this. And when I show you the basket underneath, well, I'm 6'3", so I never would see this because you'd have to get down on the floor and look up, but it's pretty bad. So let me go ahead and show you and what the problem is, and then also show you how to remedy the situation. Okay, so there's the problem. And there is the water. See it down there. So all the rags were pretty much toast. I had to throw out a bunch of them because mold had actually grown on them. And the leak is actually happening from back here and just traveling around, so you can kind of see the calcium buildup of the oops, come on, focus. Finger focus on that. Whatever. Focus. Thank you. This is going to be, it's a little bit more involved because you have to take a lot of stuff off in order to get there, but it's not going to be too horrible. But if we take it step by step, it should be all right. Step number 1, clean out all the crap underneath your sink. I have way too much stuff now. So yeah, that's step number 1. And then give yourself a good work area. You don't want to be bashing into things and things like that. And then get yourself some rags and maybe a bucket. That might help too. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is make sure you clear out your sink. You want that as clean as possible before you start taking everything apart. And also you want to make sure that you turn off your water at the back side where the shut-off valves are way back there. I'll shut that off. And also get yourself some buckets. Water is going to come out of here, and it's probably not going to smell all that great, so you want to make sure you put something down or have something handy in order to catch whatever needs to be caught. Okay, first things first is you need to diagnose where the leak is coming from. So I've already kind of done that, and I noticed that the water is starting to come in right there, which means it's coming from above, which is the very last connection in this whole line of connections where the basket actually gets screwed to the sink. So something in the connection there, it looks like plumber's putty. Ugh, look at all that stuff. Needs all to come out, be cleaned off and redone. So we need to start with detaching. So we're going to detach here. I don't need to detach this because this is a flex. Let's focus, come on. I don't need to detach this because I can flex that and just kind of set that off to the side. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop it using this a screwdriver in that piece right there. And that'll just basically it'll just drop from there. I'll try to show that on film. It'll be hard to do with one hand, but essentially you just take a screwdriver in here and then just pull, and it'll unscrew from there, right there. And then you're left with, well, this is the magnetic ring. It was taking my screwdriver, so every time I go there, so there you go. And then we're going to go ahead and then unscrew that and then clean it out and put some new, I don't know if I'm going to use plumber's putty or silicone. There's a big debate about that. So I'll let you know when I get there. Okay, so there it is. So it just dropped down. I still got my flex lines for my dishwasher connected, and that is now disconnected and over. Got a rag there catching the water, and yeah, this is going to be a lot of cleanup, so I'm going to have to start taking this thing apart. Okay, I never showed you, sorry I didn't show you how I got this piece off here. Sorry, this is utterly disgusting, but plumbing is disgusting. So there's a rubber ring that was on there, and I just pulled that off, dropped that down, and then the collar comes off, and then you're left with just to unscrew this from the basket itself, and then you can just lift it straight out. So it's a little technique as far as, or there's no real good great technique or one technique. Just take a towel, kind of grab a hold of this and pull down while you grab a pliers and get onto a couple of teeth here, just like those two, and then move it to unscrew it, and then work your way out. Okay, here's the sink. It is now completely cleaned off, and this is perfectly dry. All my pieces are over here, cleaned up. Things look so much nicer now. Look at how shiny that is. Everything's clean. I'm more impressed by everything being clean, actually. So I'm going to be taking the basket, which is this right here. I'm going to be putting a bead of silicone around the edges. I am going to let it squish out and not wipe it, because it'll be easier to cut it and then peel it off. If you wipe this, it'll get into every pore, and that's really hard to get off. So I'm just going to let it bead up, then take a razor blade, go around it, and then cut off the excess later once it dries. So that's the plan. I might also put some pipe dope on the threads here, just to make sure that if something gets by and gets down in here, that it won't go through the threads. So we'll see how that works. Alright, sorry for the lovely background. That's our mat in front of our sink here. So I think I'm actually going to decide to go with plumber's putty. So I'm going to put plumber's putty in this side, about a half an inch from the inside opening of the sink up above, and put this down on it. This will go through the sink, and it'll hang down right there. So let's see if I get it. There we go. So it's going to look like that. The next thing that's going to go on is the rubber washer. That will go up to the top right there, right over that. And the next thing will be this cardboard ring, and it's called a friction ring. And it basically is, so when you get this tightened up, if you were to just use this rubber gasket, it's not gonna want to move, because that rubber gasket's gonna also be pushing against the top underside of the sink and this washer, so you're not gonna be able to tighten it very well. So if you put something that's a little bit slick between the two, i.e. that little friction ring, which is like a slick piece of cardboard basically, you'll be able to tighten that much further than if you were to just have the washer alone. So that's the reason for that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the plumber's putty and the basket in. Take this, just pop it in, and then we'll go ahead and put these things on and start wrapping this thing back up. So this is the plumber's putty I'm going to use. It's stain free, which I just use just to be on the safe side. If you have a manufactured stone or even a natural stone product that, you know, for your sink or where you're attaching your faucet, they sometimes require this or the use of silicone. But they kind of made the stain-free product, which is exactly the same, to kind of counter that, having to use silicone, because there are purists that will say you need to use putty, not silicone. I don't mind using either, but I'm more comfortable using this. So I'm going to go with this for the video. So we're going to go ahead and put a bead right around there, and then I'll go ahead and seat the basket right into it. Okay, so I put the bead of the plumber's... That's not focusing. Come on. Okay, so I put the bead of the plumber's putty around there, and I'm going to go ahead and take the basket, put it in there, and then give it a push like that. And you can already see it squishing out all around the edges. You want to see it squishing out in every side, and that way you know that you didn't miss anything. So you can kind of see it's a little thin on that side, but I can still see it, which is good. And when I tighten it down, I'm going to see it some more. So let's go ahead and start working from the bottom. See that the rubber gasket is up against the sink and the friction gasket is below that. So now I'm going to go ahead and screw this on and then tighten it as best I can. Okay, so once you tighten it underneath, you should see something like this. And that means all that wonderful plumber's putty is squished underneath that basket. So I think we're pretty good here. I tightened it as much as I'm comfortable tightening it below, and when this is here, you just take that off. You just use your fingernail, go around. That, and you can clean that up, run that around, pick up any leftovers, and that's it. So everything else is going to be done from below now. Okay, so the order of operations here is going to be this guy right here. This is what holds the garbage disposal on, and then I gotta pull this up and over here, so I can't do that with one hand, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it. Okay, so that's on, so you can kind of see it right there. It now creates a lip, and this is the rubber gasket that goes between the garbage disposal top. And when this comes down right here like that, so now I sink it down like that, I'm going to go ahead and get that garbage disposal remounted and put the pipe right there into there. So I rotated this. I used the same thing. I put the screwdriver in there and I went that. Where is it? That direction. And you'll know that it's properly seated by that little tab goes in down over here, and it rides all the way up to that point right there. And once it reaches that point, you are secure and it is locked in the proper position. So that's how to make sure your garbage disposal is properly in place in the drain with this type of connection. Well, no joyous celebration of turning this on and showing you right away if it worked or not, because I have a cracked J-pipe, or P-trap, sorry. Right there. See it right there? That long crack right there? And that was also leaking, and I didn't know it. So I got to replace this too. So I have to run to the store, so maybe tomorrow I'll give you the final ta-da moment. Well, I'm glad this happened now. At least I'm all set up for it. Okay, so I was able to find, I had another P-trap down in the my toolbox for plumbing. So I connected that, everything's up, and we are connected. So let me go ahead and start the water. And let's see. So what you're gonna wanna do, and anytime you do plumbing and you wanna check something, is take your light, go around, do a visual, make sure you don't see any water. I don't see any water. And then after that, as a safety, even beyond that, is you go around with your hand. Obviously make sure your hand is dry at the beginning, and then check your hand. If it's dry, you've got a good connection. And there is nothing here. So, and I don't see anything coming around there. I don't see anything. It all looks connected and well. All my connections are not leaking. Thank God. And I think we're in business. Alright, so that was the repair of a leaky sink basket. Hope it was thrilling for you. If it was, be sure to hit the like button. If you like the content deliverer, me, be sure to hit subscribe so you can be up to date on any new videos that I upload. A couple of takeaways from this video that you want to be aware of is make sure all your connections are clean. Clean them with a SOS pad or whatever you need to clean it with to make sure all the grit, grime, and crud is off of any of the connections. You want them clean whatever to clean whatever. Anything that's big in there that's hard, like a rock or pebble or just food gunk that's in there, could create a gap where water could get through. You don't want that. So just make sure all your parts are clean. And get some new plumber's putty. If you have some that's in your bag, or you have it on the shelf and it's been there for a while, they say it doesn't dry out, but it totally does. It gets crusty and it's not as malleable. You can't mush it around the way that the new plumber's putty is real easy, real nice and easy. And that'll get in all the gaps where it needs to get into when you put the basket in there. You don't want to be doing this job with old plumber's putty and then have to take everything apart again because of that. So for $3, just do it. It's totally worth it. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Take care.